some of the players are treated as like almost celebrity.
That's awesome because
yeah,
I would think that like if like Logan Paul decided to start playing, who's he gonna ask to train him? You're gonna get like Azul or Tord or someone like that, and then it's like you're going to the moon, Azul. You're going to the moon at that point, which like that'd be awesome. Yo, what up, guys? Welcome to Faded Town, #1 Pokemon podcast in the world. These are facts. Look them up in a book. Google them. Pokestats them. We're back with the one-on-ones. It's a Monday episode. I know it's been a while. I've been doing a lot of stuff, but we're back with them. Before we jump into everything, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a review on iTunes, and you got a chance to get on the show. And I'm telling you, you leave a review on iTunes. I might have missed this one last week, but it's gonna, like, I'm gonna see it eventually, and you're gonna get on the show. Like, leave a review on iTunes if you really want to get on the show. Last week we had a 5-star rating on iTunes from Faded Mom. She left like a paragraph, so I'm not gonna read the whole thing. But basically, it said her kid stopped playing, but she still supports. She still watches every week, and yeah, like, that's what I'm talking about, guys. The support is awesome out here. Like, it's super cool. That's a dope ass username, Faded Mom. That's what's up. I love the inspiration. But yeah, thanks, guys. If you guys want a chance to get on the show, just leave a review, comment down below. Only like, again, 50% of you guys are subscribed to this channel that are watching. We gotta get those numbers up, boys. We gotta get those numbers up. All right. This week, I know I teased this in our last episode. There's been a lot, guys. We got to talk about, like, Pokemon's a different world now, guys. Ever since Logan Paul opened up some freaking Pokemon cards with it was over 300,000 people watching him at once. The numbers of how, like, you can't go to Target, boys. There's no cards at Target anymore. And if there are, you have to wait in line. And they're off the shelf. You have to be there. You have to know right when the person shows up with the cards. You have to be in line waiting, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
And like there's signs everywhere saying like you can only take one. There's videos of like employees at the stores like taking all of them, and people are going crazy. It's just like, it's such a new world. Before, you'd go to Target and it's just a bunch of Pokemon cards. You get whatever you want. I never pre-ordered anything. I was just like, man, I'll just pick it up at Target or my local game store. Now I'm messaging freaking Jenks that lives across the planet. Like, dude, please tell me, like, maybe you got one ETB. And they're like, yeah, but it's like 4 times the price, man. And I'm like, what are we doing here? I'm not buying any product. Like, it's just such a headache. And then Logan Paul goes and decides he's buying all. He just put out a video. He's buying all the what is it? First edition booster boxes, base set booster boxes, and he's just gonna open them every month. Like, these numbers are not going down, boys. Like, if you're sitting at home and you're like, I'll just wait it out. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm like, I'll just wait it out. There's no way. There's no way. And then we seen, like, I did take advantage of this. We seen the uptick in, like, really bad full art trainer cards that are, like, went from, like, $4 to $100. And I'm like, when I seen that, I'm like, cool, I'll get rid of all mine. And then once I sold them, I'm like, wait a minute, this is an issue. I'm never going to be able to play like full art trainer cards anymore. Like, yeah, I'm like, they're not going to stay up. Like 3 weeks later, I'm looking, it's worse. It's worse now. I'm like, this is crazy. And we're here to talk about that. We got Franco with us, and he says this has been going on in Japan like 2 years ago. So that, like, he kind of has the insight on, it's not end all be all, but it's kind of, this has happened before in a different culture that I think a lot of Western people just are so not connected to, don't understand, that we it's a good discussion to see, like, in Japan, this has been these price has gone up so high in Japan 2 years ago that they've kind of dealt with this, and Franco's got the insight on that, and I think it's a fun discussion. I think a lot of people are collecting now. I've had like so many friends that never even played the Pokemon game, like hit me up. It's like, hey, you do a Pokemon podcast? Like, do you open cards? And I'm like, no, I don't open cards, but like, it's just cool to see that a lot of people are playing. And I don't know, what do you think? Like, what went on in Japan? And like, kind of give a backstory of yourself so people kind of understand like where this is all coming from.
Okay, so first of all, hi. My name is Franco. If you don't know me,
Yeah.
If you know me, cool. I've been around. I'm like, for those who doesn't know, I am originally from Japan, and I'm currently living in Florida. But when it comes to competitive Pokemon TCG, my like one of my primary testing group is from Japan. Some of you guys may know like Takuya and Eda and them. So usually when it comes to international or worlds event, I usually test with them, and I'm very, we're all like really good friends. So we keep in touch constantly each other with what's going on here, like the situation here and the situation over there, whether it's competitive scene or whether it's just simply buying cards or anything Pokemon related. We just keep in touch with us and each other. So to start with it, I guess 2 years ago in Japan, they had a very similar situation where we call the Pokemon Boom, Pokemon card boom, where it exploded. It's very, very similar, yet it was slightly different. There are some few minor differences between the situation here and over there, because it has like few variables that we don't have in here that they did, which I will go over more in depth about those variables, as the story progressed.
Yeah.
But it's very similar to here. I assume here it was Logan Paul that kind of triggered somewhat.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I would blame. Like, okay. I think there was over 300,000 people watching him open one booster box, and he's got to be the biggest name person, like celebrity wise, that did it. And then it just took off. I think everyone started like Twitch just became. If you're a streamer on Twitch, you just open Pokemon cards, and your Twitch numbers went up insane. Like all the Twitch people were like, you could just open Pokemon cards and get double the viewers. It's like that's just what happened. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So similar to Japan. Japan also had this one guy. His name is like Hajime. He's like the number one. I'm not sure if he still is, but at least 2 years ago, he was like the number one biggest YouTuber in Japan. And he's pretty much like our age, pretty much like late 20s.
Okay.
So from that generation, basically, like the first gen. And he used to be a card gamer as well. Like I know he played like Yu-Gi-Oh for his funds, like his personal hobby and whatnot. I don't know where exactly it started first, but as far as I remember, couple like semi big, like not top tier, but like it's like slightly big tier YouTubers were like playing Pokemon cards. It all started with Pokemon Company in Japan releasing a starter deck for $5, where their theme was basically easy to pick up, super cheap, this $5 Steam deck, and you have like 2 GXs guaranteed inside. Play with your friends, quick play basically. So they released like 7 or 8 different for each type $5 theme decks, and then so that became on the stores, and I guess the YouTubers kind of picked it up as in like, oh, this looks fun, let's pick it up since it's cheap and let's play and see how it goes, And when they played, they were like, oh my god, this is actually pretty simple, but it's a pretty fun game, Yeah. So the word kind of spread, and began to spread like that until eventually, like the biggest YouTuber, heard that and same thing, he just made
Picked them
one
up.
video where it's like, you see, the other day I picked up a Pokemon card, like starter deck for funsies, and it turned out to be really, really fun, and I kind of got into it. So as all those YouTubers were releasing about Pokemon card is actually fun, they were also slowly but surely discovering that some of the high rarity cards, like the full arts or the gold, like the gold rare cards, those were not a cheap card. They were pretty like priced in Japan. Japan usually maintain like a pretty higher value than here when it came to like higher rarity cards in general.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like expensive because of the YouTubers. Like let's say like the Ultra Prism Full Art Lily was like $200-$300 from the get go.
Wow.
Pretty much.
That's crazy.
before all this crazy thing happens.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I guess the primary difference between here and in Japan was that like here the full arts are expensive, but if you notice, like a lot of the playable gold rare cards are not expensive as like full arts. In Japan it was like the opposite. In Japan, people also value playable cards.
Okay.
So they were naturally expensive by default, along with the full arts.
Yeah.
Therefore, when the YouTubers began, they were like, they didn't go immediately like basic, they just like immediately went latest sets because they were interested. Yeah, they thought they were mainly interested on the playing aspect where the game was actually fun. So they wanted to get into, competitively, or they wanted to like kind of like see how far they can go competitive wise. And along the way, as a kind of like it was more like a bonus thing where it's like, oh my god, if I crack these packs, I can actually have a chance to win all these like expensive gold full art cards,
Yeah.
So that's like the perspective they started view. And then that's how in Japan pack opening videos began, where people were like, how much, video like, oh, how much is going to cost me to pull full art Acerola or something,
That's what
things like that.
It's crazy. I think that would have been so much cooler if like Logan Paul was playing the game.
Yeah.
I know. It's like that's why like as a competitive player, you always want people to play the game, and it's like the dream is to like show up and like Steve Aoki's across the table from you. You're playing, and so it's kind of cool. I think that makes a lot more sense in Japan. I think the game is a lot more competitive out there. I think people take it more serious.
Definitely. Yeah.
Out here, I feel like most people don't even care. Like they don't even read what the card does. They're just like, oh, it's shiny. It's like I don't know. I kind of get both sides because when I was a kid, all I did was collect them. And like I think in the West, I think in all Pokemon, it was more like gotta catch them all. Like I'm just trying to collect them all, not trying to battle. But I think it's really cool that they started out like wanting to play the game and found out that it was cool. But I guess the resources. I mean, it's hard to say. I guess $5 isn't.
Yeah.
Like really isn't anything to like someone YouTubers, but I guess it's something. It's kind of like an anomaly where you're like, why is this so cheap? Like I can just put $5 and I can start playing the game, which is something we don't have here. But it'd be cool if we did.
Yeah, I mean each deck came with like 2 GXs.
Yeah, that's insane because I think we're heading in that direction. I think they're
slowly,
slowly they're putting stuff out like that. Maybe people will start playing more, but I don't know.
Definitely.
Everyone jumped on base set. Like I like I think it's really cool that you could see the opposites where in a collector's mind it's like, let me get the oldest thing, where their mindset was like, I played this theme deck, the game was super fun, I want the rarest cards that I can play right now. Which I'm kind of like, as a competitive player, like I know that sounds cool, but you don't want that because you're
also
want to play these
for
cards.
Sure. No, trust me, because granted, that's like one of the main variables that I was mentioning earlier that we had and Japan had and US didn't have was that aspect. And I would say probably, and I'm not necessarily saying like Logan Paul was going to like guarantee he was going to play competitive or he's going to try to play something at all. Or, I mean, who knows? But, but at that time, 2 years ago, we didn't have the coronavirus, now we do. So that's like another major difference. Like 2 years ago, we also had tournaments, like accessibility to tournaments. So it was more like an easier environment for yourself to, just whether casual or competitive, you had more access to play games with other people or have a motive, to travel or trying to do something,
Yeah, that is a good. Yeah, it is hard to say. You're right, because like it would be. Oh, you're right. It's so crazy if you really think about like all these people jumping into the game. If they knew, if we had events and we were traveling every week, and they seen like the hype behind it, you don't know. It could have been these people are like, all right, let me go check this out. But in the coronavirus era that we're in, it's just like
it's hard.
There's no hype behind it. So maybe when there's the first event in the Western world happens again, we might see someone go like, hey, you should go check this out. But we'll see.
For sure. And I mean, it's kind of like the way I kind of see it. It's very similar to how most of us like competitive players got into the game, where like a lot of us, not necessarily were playing the game when we were little, but eventually throughout the years we're like, oh, this is kind of cool, and we discovered, oh, hey, this game is pretty fun. Let me go to events, and then we know the story. We get hooked in the game, and then from there on it starts. So I think it's like a similar perspective where in Japan 2 years ago, they had that, and 2 years later, when it happened here, we didn't have, that part.
We didn't have that,
And as a result, that happened, and everyone pretty much discovered, like, expensive cards in the packs. So similar to here, everyone basically began to buying a lot of packs, more than what the Pokemon company was producing, So as a result, similar to here, if you go to like Pokemon centers 2 years ago during that time, you could not buy packs because you couldn't find any. People were just buying crazy because everyone wanted to open packs. The other aspect was the population of the players also grew. Like a lot of the players in Japan that bought the cards weren't necessarily. I mean, of course, there are resellers, there are collectors. Like just like any other parts of the world. But one thing I've noticed from there was because the YouTubers were playing, they also got curious from influence. They got influence from the influencer. So the people that get influenced decided to play the game as well. And, Pokemon is a fun game.
It is,
in general. I mean, I don't know about right now necessarily.
Who knows? That's up for debate, but yeah.
I mean, it's easy to learn, and it's pretty complex for how the rule is simple. It's like a chess. So a lot of people who try the game also got into it, and now there's like this environment of let's buy packs and let's compete at events, basically for fun. It doesn't matter if you're going to be like the very best of the best. It was more of like let's buy, let's get cards and let's play with people, basically. That was like the atmosphere that I felt 2 years ago. And there was no packs. The worst part for the people 2 years ago was, so here in America or like outside of Japan, when a new set comes, you have like a 2 weeks period for the cards to become legal.
Yeah.
In Japan, at that time, they didn't have that.
Yeah, it's like the third Friday of the month or something.
Yeah,
whatever that is.
So there was like there was like legit like this one awkward moment where a set came out, and a week later there was a big regional.
Oh, and there's no cards.
All my friends were legit messaging me saying like, I don't know if I can get the cards before the tournaments.
That's dang, that is crazy. Dude, it's such a weird thing because like it's like part of me when you talk about it, because I didn't think about it that way, where if we had events that maybe there would be a lot more people playing, and which is great. Like I preach that all the time, like I want more people playing, but there is downsides to that. Like if we were playing and Logan Paul didn't only just open base set, he was like, oh look, I am playing this game and I'm going to these events. You need the newer cards, and like those are all gone. You can't find those on TCG Player. Like it would just be crazy, like to even think that way. And I'm like, I mean, want it, but like I don't want it.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, it's like that's exactly where Japan went. Like, so after all this, eventually what happened is like I said, those the biggest YouTubers that I mentioned that pretty much started everything in Japan. Of course, they went to regional, they competed it, and of course, the Pokemon Company was aware of that, you know?
Yeah.
So they pretty much broadcast them on stream, like, you know, they threw them on the stream match tables, or I think sometimes they did interviews or things like that. You know, they pretty much threw the spotlight because, you know, when there's like a tension like that, you kind of have to take advantage of the situation, because from Pokemon Company perspective, the best you want is the game to grow, you know?
Yes. That was the whole topic of last week, is like, the goal is always to grow the game. There's no other goal. There's no like, I want you to be happy with these cards. It's always, how do we make more people play the game? Not how do we make the players that are playing the game happy. That's not the goal. The goal is how to get more people to play the game. So that makes a lot of sense.
And as a result, the game gained a lot of attention, and the player population grew like a lot. It was already big, though. Trust me. Before that, it was already big, but now it became ridiculous. Like, I'm talking about like Masters. First of all, Masters has like a 1,600 cap for regionals.
Oh gosh.
That's gonna get capped all the time, and probably like 2/3 of the players doesn't even make it to registration.
That's
yeah, that's just one division. Like, I'm not talking about juniors and seniors. I'm talking about just Masters.
Just Masters.
Yeah, and this is before coronavirus. Like, it got to the point where people had to line up for hours and hours outside of the venue just so they can get into the regionals venue.
Gosh.
Yeah, that's how much people were there.
That's crazy. Like, I mean, we fear that, like, because I was even in the Corona times, like I talked about it, I'm like, I hope they don't cap the event when we come back, because like we're never gonna get in. We had the one cap on, I think it was like the Nashville Open that capped, and like you had to. They're like, we're gonna open up 500 spots, and like at 7 o'clock, and at 7:05 or at like 7:01, there was all gone, and you're like. And all these people are sad. But if that was every regional, gosh, that would be rough. That would be so rough.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know, in America, they're like, let's just get a bigger venue. Like, they're like, let's just get the biggest venue. We're going to have 5,000 people. The more money we can make, the better. So, like, I don't know. I think Japan's a little different on that side. I think
For sure.
people are super greedy over here, and they're just going to shove as many people into the smallest spots ever, and we're gonna be playing on top of each other. But it's something to think about. Like, I hope I hope that doesn't happen, but it's cool. Like the idea of it being so popular that it's hard to play is like super. As a Pokemon player, it's like, I wish that was like how awesome it was. I wish there was that type of attention on the game, because like I do interviews with the best players in the world like every week, and I'm like, more people need to know you. Like, Xander, like you're like the youngest person to ever top 8 a Worlds, and like, who knows you? Not enough people. Everyone needs to know you. What is this? This is trash. And like that's the type of attention I want on the game. So hopefully we get events back, and like I like what you're saying.
I mean, granted, like I said, as a result, the player grew. There was a lot of attention, and of course, the competitive scene was open. So the competitive scene also gained a lot of attention because the YouTubers were also a part of it. Whether, of course, like the YouTubers weren't winning events, but you know, the eyes were pretty much on the cards and the events, and as a result, all the veteran pro players, or like players that are good on the, you know, they've been good in the game for years, they gain a lot of spotlight. And granted, I will say it wasn't because of the YouTubers necessarily. It was more of like, now that everyone's looking at that way, I felt like the Pokemon Company in Japan decided to take all those spotlights to the veteran, like the pro players as well. And as a result, a lot of the players, they became very, very famous or known
Popular.
in the community. Popular, so like some of the players are treated as like almost celebrity.
That's awesome because
yeah,
I would think that like if like Logan Paul decided to start playing, who's he gonna ask to train him? You're gonna get like Azul or Tord or someone like that, and then it's like you're going to the moon, Azul. You're going to the moon at that point, which like that'd be awesome. Like to get like Azul who streams every day. He has like 200-300 viewers. If he had Logan Paul backing him, the viewership on Pokemon would, for him in general, which like everyone, people need to understand, like this isn't a competition. If Azul gets 1,000 people watching him every day, 2,000 people watching, that trickles. That's a trickling effect. Everyone gains from this. So it's like, it would be so awesome to see something like that. Like, and like you said, I mean, Japan's a little different, and like people watching this understand that. Would Azul be fucking Justin Bieber? No, but in the Pokemon world, like it would be. He'd be like, for sure. He'd be like super famous. It'd be crazy, and I think a lot of people in the community. I mean, I've talked to like Sam Chen, everyone. It's always been a dream to see someone make a like legitimate. Like, obviously, people make money and make a living off of Pokemon, but to make a like real living, like you're making crazy money that. Like, you never have to think about finding a new job, or you might need a new job. Like, that is always a dream for, like, people. So, man, I hope events come back soon. Because it would be so cool. It would be so cool. Then we get Logan Paul on this podcast, boys.
Yeah, we go to the definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's a win-win situation, right?
Yeah, like I think a lot of people in the community don't realize that. I think a lot of people, like I've got DMs from people that are like, "This guy does the same type of podcast as you." I'm like, dude, there's enough for everyone. I'm out here. I'm here to support everyone. This is a trickle effect. If someone's watching his podcast, odds are they're gonna start watching mine. So it's like. There's no competition in internet media at this point. Like, there's enough for everyone.
Fair.
You know?
I mean, I guess now we spoke the cool side, and I guess I can get in touch with the dark side.
Oh yes, that's the dark side. Is kind of the best part. Let's get into that because
so the dark side, or the negative side, I'll say, is of course when a game grows a lot. Well, I should mention this first. Regionals in Japan, unlike the regionals here, there's no money prizes. In Japan, you don't win money for prizes. You get like promos and stuff. And,
okay.
You know, you can kind of maneuver around. So there's like no money on the line.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but
like, you had to throw money at Americans to get them to start playing. Now in Japan, they're like, ours max out, and if we get a Pikachu, all right. Down.
Yeah, you get trophies and all that, but no money, basically.
Okay,
yeah.
That's kind of weird.
So they play this crazy tournament, like supersized tournament, 10-round best of 1.
Oh shit! Okay.
Top cut of 8 or 16, usually 8. I'll say it's like a long day, and everything is best of 1, so it's super hard to win, and everyone is pretty good at the game.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of intense, and the game is The game is at a good state. There's a lot of demand. The population grew. There's a lot of tension. There's no money involved, but if you win a hard tournament like this, in a state like that, you get a lot of attention from the community.
That's true.
Like, granted, one thing I could say is that I do know for a fact where someone won like a major tournament, and like the trend in Japan is they can write an article about their winning deck or anything good, right? I do know a player that posted his article about his deck, and let's just say he made enough money to go on a trip back and forth from one country.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, there's a lot of attention you get, and there's basically no money, but there's a lot on the line if you do well
Right.
because of the attention. So as a result, as any other card game in the world, not all the players that joins into the game is necessarily the most honest and fair players, you know.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of shady things, or the odds of shady things or unpleasant player coming into the community also increases it as well, you know. That along with shortage of supply from high demand.
Yeah.
One thing I do know that the way that Japan managed to kind of control that was basically demanding most of the stores pretty much, I'll say like roughly 90-80% of the stores had to had a limit, you know, customer per limit on purchase
Yeah.
to begin with, or else, you know, pretty much it's going to come down to first come first serve, you know. Of course, there were like some stores in Japan that didn't have those limitations, but for the most part, they have to begin with, you know, to kind of keep everything in control or try to control with it, they have to do that, you know.
Yeah. I think that's happening here too. I wouldn't say your local store, but like stuff like Target is already saying that you can only buy one and stuff like that.
My Target still doesn't have that.
Mine has signs that say that, but I don't think anyone listens to that. So I don't know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, granted, and there's always like loopholes and whatnot, you know.
Yeah, always.
And but I think it's very important to have those limitations for, you know, trying to get some control, because if there's no limitation, people are just going to go nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, we already saw that this year. Yeah.
Like, I feel at this point, like, major companies are distributors. They're not even retailers. Like, you're giving reseller stuff, and like, it is what it is. And then it trickles down. It's such a bad effect, because like, these retail stores like Target get bought out automatically to a reseller. A reseller puts it at a price, and then your local game store goes, well, that's the price. And now your local game store has become a reseller instead of a retail thing. And like, they use the excuse of like, well, that's the market price, that's what we're going by. And like, I get it, but it just, as a consumer, it sucks. But there's no real way to stop it. I think, I don't know, unless I don't know anything, unless there's just, I mean, there is a limit thing, but there's so many like bots. Like, I've got into,
for sure.
Yeah, I've got into like buying shoes now and like computer parts, and like those things sell out instantly. And it's like the only way that happens is bots. And like people like Danny Phantom, who have a YouTube channel about selling stuff, he pretty much says if he puts anything on his website, it almost just sells out instantly. And like the only way that happens is if someone has a bot that is like monitoring his website, where he can put something up, it automatically just gets sold. I mean, as a retailer, you're like, that's great, but as like someone that's part of the community, like even he's talked about it, it's like, it doesn't feel right. It feels scummy, you know? So I don't know where we could go from here on that, but
I mean, as far as I know, the way I guess kind of Japan overcame eventually was put, you know, like I said, to start with, it was put into limitation, and pretty much people had to kind of hang in there until they increased the production of the packs. And that's something, I don't know if TPCI, I mean, I know TPCI has been reprinting things, but I don't know if they're thinking of incrementing their, you know, their prints. For overall.
Do you think that has a lot, like, because we are in the COVID era, do you think production is down because of COVID?
I definitely would like to say yes. I do have a strong feeling that it's most likely yes. It's not Pokemon related, but for example, I've been kind of playing Digimon lately. Okay. And Digimon is also kind of suffering. Their releases got pushed back due to coronavirus, I guess, holding their production. Yeah. Japan is currently also, and speaking Pokemon again, Japan is also in a similar spot where the cards are inflating like crazy right now too. due to coronavirus, because there's no events, so people will begin to collect, and they also start to look back at the older cards. So the older cards in Japan are also inflating. Pretty much this whole inflation for cards, it's pretty much worldwide scenario right now. Yeah,
that's crazy.
But the one major difference between Japan and US right now is that you can still buy packs in Japan without problem, because I guess Japan went through that thing 2 years ago. So they just incremented their production. Where they're trying to make sure they have enough forever, basically. So
pretty much.
If you go to Pokemon Center, you'll find packs right now, even though cards are like super expensive right now.
Yeah, I say like Raul's bought like shining those shiny
Fates.
What was it? Shining Fates with the Crobats. He's bought them from Japan. Yeah. And I'm like, to imagine, could you even get that here in America? Like, I don't even know. I'm like, we're like, what, less than 10 days out, and I'm like thinking in my head, I might have to like stay the night at a Target on the 18th just to get like an ETB. And like, all I want to do is give the ETB to the fans on this podcast. I just want to give it away. And like, in my head, I might have to sit in a line the night before at a Target and hope that I get one. I don't even know how to approach it at this point. It's like that insane.
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
In Japan, it's pretty common to you have to line up at the stores for the most part. Like I've been lining to stores like since I was a little kid. Like really? For me, it was normal. For me, it was legit normal to go to the store at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. in the morning and wait until 10 a.m. for them to open and pray you can get. Like that's just not even like Pokemon thing. I'm talking about anything in general that it's on trend, basically. Yeah. Like I had like when I was a kid, like just a little stupid example, but like I was like into Beyblade because in Japan was like Beyblade hype.
Yeah,
like,
Beyblade was dope.
Yeah. And I couldn't find Beyblades in Japan, like because it was like the hottest thing at that time, Yeah. And I had to kind of guesstimate, like because they usually restock like Saturday, but we couldn't tell which week. So I had to pretty much line up at 6, 7 in the morning almost every Saturday, and first of all, pray they restock, number one. Number two, pray you're in the front line enough to get it. Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, I know the set drops the 19th. It's like, but when does the vendor come to put in the product? And
exactly,
did it already get put out on accident? Because like that happens like so much in America, where it's like you like how many people are by we're the 6th. Or so when this is filmed, it's Saturday, so Monday it's like the 9th. I'd say by the 10th, someone will already have product and like opening it on YouTube. Like, look, my fucking GameStop gave me this. It's like, goddamn. It's like, how do we even have a chance? Like, you're just out here guessing. Like, I don't know. I hope.
Yeah.
My goal, like, I live five minutes from a Target. My goal is to wake up on the actually I work all night, so I'm just gonna stay up and then I'm gonna go and hopefully like I live in kind of a rural area. Like if you live in Vegas, I'm like on the very as far like if you left my house, you're going into the desert and there's nowhere else and there just happens to be a Target that is just back here and I'm like, this might be the best Target, No who's coming here. So, but again, if I go to that Target right now, there still is 0 Pokemon cards. So people are coming. So I'm hoping that I can go there on the 19th and pick up some products. Yeah. But if not, I don't know, guys. Eventually, I'll be able to get a giveaway going. But that's the goal. I think it's such a weird thing because like we never had to worry about that stuff. Like I used to sit here and like talk to people that like because they knew I played Pokemon. They're like, "Oh, you play Pokemon?" They're like, "Dude, I got cards, dude." And I'd be like, I'd have to tell them like, "You might think these cards are worth something. These cards are not worth anything." Like, I was like, if you want real value, you need the cards that are good in the competitive game. Because like years ago, it's like Shaman was like $100, and a Charizard was like $20. You could get base set Charizard for $20. Like,
yeah,
I'm like, your Charizard really ain't shit. Like, it just isn't. Like, I know it's cool. I think it's cool, but you just can't. You're not gonna make any money off it. And then it felt like just a snap of the finger, and everything was $100 to $200. Everything.
Yeah,
You're just like, they're like, my PSA 10 Diglett, $300. I'm like, that's a Diglett, guys. That's a Diglett. What are we doing here? But
Pokemon card turn into stock.
yeah, 100%. I'm like in my head, if I obviously I'm gonna give out a giveaway, but if I can get shiny fates, I'm like, I don't even want to open it. I'm not gonna gamble it. I'm gonna put this on a shelf. Hopefully in 10 years I could buy a house. It's like,
yeah,
that's kind of where we're at. Like, hopefully, I don't know. Like, things are always up in the air when it comes to investing. But in my personal opinion, I think there's so much money that's been dumped into this by everyone that it's hard for something like that to just die. Like, people want a return on their investment, so it's like, just to think that something just like, oh, I know like 2 years ago we dumped millions of dollars in this, but like today it's $10. I just don't feel like that's gonna happen. So I do feel like investing in stuff like this is a good idea.
So here's my question to you, Zach.
Yeah.
We kind of already briefly talked about this already, but I still want to ask you, if, like, let's say for some magical world, coronavirus hadn't existed, and we had, I guess, events basically running like 2 years ago. Like, everything is kind of like similar to normal, but we have the hype, the great hype. Do you think the players for events will increment if that was the case? And my other question is, do you think the gold secret rare cards, like, like gold quick balls, metal saucer, whatever, those cards, do you think they will also get inflated or not?
My thought is, I think we would start it at base set. I do think the same thing would have happened. I think Logan Paul would have opened a first edition base set deck, because at that time, or we just don't have first edition stuff, and like, people, especially in America, value age stuff, and I think people of that stature are looking to make money off of stuff, and it's just a common thought is, the older something is, the more value it is. Even though in Pokemon it wasn't like that, it just wasn't. That's just how it wasn't. But from the outside, anyone from the outside of the game would always think that their base set Charizard or their base set cards are a lot more valuable than your full art Marnie or whatever. So I think it would have started there, and then it would have blown up, and all these YouTubers would have done it, but at least one would have went and looked at it and goes, what is happening? Like, what do I do with this? I know it's a cardboard, but people do stuff with this. And it would, I think it would have only took one like big YouTuber to go, all right, I want to learn the game. And then I think connections would have happened, and someone like Azul or someone would have started coaching, like Logan Paul or someone. And then I think the competitive scene would have taken off. I think it would have been insane. And I mean, let's be real, 100%. Like, if as a competitive player, I don't care too much. But when you look at a player that's playing all blinged out cards, there's something in you. There's something in you that looks at it and goes, damn, that's cool. Damn, that's cool. And like, if you're a YouTuber and you're going into the game, like, especially because I'm friends with Chum, and when he got into the game, all his shit was blinged out. Like, at the end of the day, he, in his head, was like, I'm not the best player in the world, but I'm gonna look the best. So if you had a whole community of people coming into the game that were not that great at the game, but they had a bunch of money, Like the price of those cards are just going to skyrocket, especially with the boom. So we're seeing that now without games, which is crazy. But I think that's just like people taking advantage of things. Because like I personally know people that will go on TCG Player, buy out all of a certain type of card, and then just throw it up there for $100 and see what happens. And nowadays, like I've talked to a lot of people, they found that sticks. Somehow that sticks. The people that are buying these cards look at that and they don't see like that's a roller skater girl. They see that card's worth $100. Oh, I want that. And then more people then once one person starts buying it, they're like, oh god, that card's worth how much? Boom, I need that. And then it's just starting to stick. Where like back in the day, if someone did that, like they took roller skater and they bought them all and put them up there for $100, we would look at it, because at that time all the value was in playable cards. Like your Charizards weren't worth garbage. Your Shaman EX was worth the most because you needed 4 of them for your deck. So if you took a roller skater and threw it on there, and we'd go, why is that roller skater $100? And a week later, it'd be back down to 25 cents because they weren't selling them. But in the age we live now, people are just looking at that number and going, oh, that card's worth money. Holy shit. So, and then that just caught fire. If you look at every full art trainer now, they're all like $100. And I'm like in my head, it was cool because I took mine because I had a binder full of garbage cards. Like, I'm a competitive player. I look at Roller Skater, I read the card, I'm like, God, I just pulled like the shittiest card. Like this thing, I just sit in my binder, and then someone hit me up and was like, something's happening on TCG Player, and I'm like, what? He sent me a link. I'm like, why is Roller Skater $60?
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I got 3 of those. And like, it was cool, but in like perspective, it's trash, because going further, like further on, like the new set that's about to drop, what is it, Shining Fates or whatever, there's 4 or 5 full art supporters. And like, I was always a person that was like, I'll spend the extra $10 for the full art supporter because it just looks cool. And now it's like, when we go back to events, I'm not even having fun. I'll play non-hollow everything, because like the price gap on those are just insane. And it might get better. I mean, it might even get worse if people do start playing, where you're like, cards that are competitive are just outrageous. So I don't know, but like, we like, as Pokemon players, we complain about that. We complain about the prices of stuff, and like, if you ever talk to someone that plays like a game like Magic, they're like, well, what are you talking about, guys? Like, these cards are super cheap. And I'm like, we're just so used to like,
we're spoiled like that.
There's so many options. You can get a reverse hollow that's like $1 more, or you could play the basic card that is like 25 cents. It's they do the same thing. It's fine. Where like, it's just a weird thing where if it ever did blow up, that 25-cent card might be $10, which I don't know how that would affect the game.
I mean, at one point, VA Seekers or like Ultra Balls, cards like that, it became like $5-10 card in Japan. The common ones, though.
Oh, I think we got up a little bit on those, but that was more when it became like an expanded card, where like you couldn't buy packs. Like, it took a lot of time to get there.
Oh no.
But you're right. If it does get competitive, like it is in Japan, I could see those basic cards that are 4-ofs in decks being a lot of money. And like, I don't know how to feel about that, because we are spoiled. You're right, we're spoiled. And we don't, and like, it's crazy how much we complain about everything in this community, and like, we really just don't understand. And you would think like the coronavirus and all this would like enlighten people on like, dude, we took advantage of so many opportunities that we had that we don't have today. But no, Twitter's just full of everyone complaining still about anything. So I don't know. I want it, like, personally, like, I want it to blow up. I want these people that are really good at this game to get the recognition that they deserve. And I think it takes some type of icon like a YouTuber or something to start putting a lot more light on the game. I really do feel like Pokemon, right before the pandemic, Pokemon was diving super hard into VGC. Their video game just came out. They're really excited about it. They were just pumping, trying to get it all. But as we see, I'm not trying to be biased. The card game is just more popular. It's just more, always has been, always will be. Like the prize pool for VGC is just always trash. They got like 100 people there. Like, their numbers were getting higher. But I'm telling you, even if the numbers got higher and then Logan Paul did this, TCG just gotta blow them out the fucking water, boys. Like, it's just, I wish Pokemon would just accept that. Just accept that the TCG is just a more popular game. Let's push it. And I mean, I think they're doing things. Like, they did put out that new thing to teach people how to play the game. And so, like, maybe when we go back, we might get that push. We might get that push that we wish we had. And I think Pokemon does a lot of cool stuff. Like, before the pandemic started, they were doing like these highlight videos with, I think it was like Azul or Jimmy. They were doing these videos where they followed him around and talked to him, and like, I'm not 100% sure. I just know because I'm in the freaking tournament hall with them, and there's a guy with a giant fucking boomstick. So it's like, obviously something's happening there. So I think it's cool. I hopefully when we get back, all these people that are collecting. And if you are collector, like, I preach that on every podcast. If you are a collector, I have a list of resources in the description. These people have nothing to do with the podcast. They are just great players. They have great YouTube channels. There's great Facebook groups. There's Twitches. I post them all down below because at the end of the day, it's about growing the game. I just want you to play. You're like, the stuff we talk about here. I did a 2-hour podcast with someone that I've never hung out with at events, and we just talked about all the cool stuff that we do at events and how traveling's so fun. Like, there's so much fun in this game that, like, I feel people would just love it if they could compete. And like, hopefully you're watching this and you're a collector and you go down to the description of this video and you just start following these people, and like, they put out content almost daily. I think Azul streams like 4 or 5 times a day or a week. Acilio's putting out like 1 video a day. Pablo's he's putting out like 2 videos a day, and it's just like, there's so much you can absorb and just take. And it's tough right now because there is no traveling, and like, we talk about traveling being so much fun, but we can't really show it.
We just kind of have to hang in there.
Yeah, we just hang in there. And I think once it happens, once we get back in the groove, I think one of these YouTubers is gonna start showing up. And like, just imagine if one person like was like, you know what, I'm gonna qualify for Worlds. It's like, it would just it would just blow up. I think the game would blow up, and I think we'd have backing. But like you said, there's always a dark side, and that dark side has to do with your wallet and trying to get into events, which I'm cool with. If I can't play, which I don't think that ever being a problem, because Pokemon gives you so many variants of like the type of cards you need. Getting the cards might be difficult, but I feel like I'm ingrained in this community enough to be able to get the cards I need.
I mean, one of the things that Japan now has as a system is like, let's say if you win like a cup, or you do like top 32 or regional or something, they will give you a priority registration for the next regionals. No, trust me, there are people using bots trying to make it into the registration for regionals. That's how ridiculous it is. Like, I legit have friends that are world competitors that they legit says, I couldn't play this regionals because I couldn't make it into the refresh war.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to say we won't have that problem, but I know there are some TOs that don't want to deal with that many people. So I could see caps, which I think if we ever got that big, I think Pokemon would start taking over events more often. I think
so too.
Yeah, I know we give a lot of freedom to TOs, and I think a lot of TOs do well. But when you get to a number that large, which in America could be crazy amounts because we're the venues that we have, we could have giant events. I think you just need bigger. Like a TO is just not good enough. Like someone's got to step in, and that's no. I'm not trying to throw shade at anyone. I just think bigger companies can handle events better when they're that size. So
also, I just remembered.
Yeah.
Taiwan. I have friends from Taiwan as well, and Taiwan currently Taiwan is also like, I'm pretty sure you've seen somewhere like the Facebook post about this cool 7-Eleven or whatever. They're also like in the middle of like a big Pokemon boom as well right now. And I remember that some of my friends from Taiwan told me, and also Taiwan is actually one of the countries that managed to control coronavirus really, really good right now.
Yeah.
So they're actually hosting events right now in Taiwan, like regional scales.
That's crazy.
They legit told me they had like 3,000 people
in Taiwan. God, that's crazy.
Taiwan, yeah. Dude. So imagine. So I was like, I keep thinking every time.
That is fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna if we had events.
Yeah, because that's always like I even sat here the other day and I was like, I talk about how I think it's gonna be the biggest event ever, and then like I don't know, I get playing the game. Kind of get discouraged because the format sucks. And in my opinion, I don't enjoy it. I'm not enjoying the game. And like so in my head, I'm like, man, there's a lot of people I don't see playing, and I'm like, maybe the numbers would go down. But then like having this podcast and talk about it, it's like just imagining if we had events while this boom was happening, there's no way the numbers would skyrocket. It's just, even if it wasn't consistent, like there would be at least one regional that would have some type of numbers that were just unbelievable. It would be like, there's 10,000 people here. Like, try to win this game would be like, that event would be insane. It would just be, and it would be fun. I think it would be super fun.
I agree.
I don't know. Nowadays it's tough because the corona thing. Even when we go back, it's like so many people are on the fence. There's so many people that are like so anti like anything, and then there's so many people that are like just open everything. So like once we go back in our first event, like I want to say it's going to be the biggest ever, but I think you're going to have those people on the fence who are like, I'm not going to that. You guys are crazy. And then you're going to have those people I'm going to that because it is what it is now. So it's like, maybe that won't be the biggest one, but eventually, I want to say we're going to get back to normal life eventually. And I think that's when we'll have the biggest event ever. And hopefully Logan Paul, I mean, it's cool. Like he has 6 more boxes. I mean, and the things are just going to go up. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, let's face it. I think this is pretty much, you don't have to be like, we don't need to really guess too much, but since Pokemon already got this hype and attention already, like, worldwide, I'm pretty sure if it's not regional, somebody known is gonna try to go to Worlds for sure, for making a video of this or content creation.
Yep, it's great content. Like, it's great content, especially dude, the future is looking bright. Like, it just takes one person to go, I'm gonna commit to this, and you're gonna go, fucking whoever is playing Pokemon, we're going to events every weekend, and like it could be crazy.
I'm not saying we're gonna get events this year necessarily, but not to mention that this year is the 25-year anniversary year too, so it has a lot of weight.
There's a lot of weight. And dude, Pokemon's genius. Like, a lot of people shit on Pokemon, but their marketing is genius. They know what they're doing. So in this community, we're in the competitive community, so we shit on Pokemon because they don't make us happy. At the end of the day, that's not their goal. They don't go. They're like, sure, they want you to have fun playing the game, but they want more people to play the game. That's their goal, and I think they do that very well. I think where they're going at it, they know what they're doing, and I like the content they're putting out is good, and I think they're not dumb. They see the boom. They know, like.
I mean, I would be worried if they don't see it.
Yeah, I know. Like people are like, what is World? You know what Worlds is? Worlds is a marketing tool for them. Could they like why do they have so many people go to Worlds? Because put that on the internet. We had a fucking 100,000 people coming to play Pokemon cards. Like that's a great fucking marketing tool that they'll dump as much money as they want into that because that is bigger than anything. Like it's like the Super Bowl of Pokemon. So it's like
basically
that's a marketing tool. Like they're not trying to make you happy, boys. They're trying to make money and grow the game, and like that's how they make money. So yes, the marketing tool is gonna work. They're not dumb. They see the boom. Our events will go up. The more I talk about it, yes, there's no even doubt in this.
Oh man, can you imagine the Pokemon Center store at the World?
Oh my god, they already had issues. The year I went, I went the last 2 years. I wanted those stupid dice. I didn't even want the dice. Oh, yeah. People wanted the dice. I'm rolling with the
souvenirs. Yeah, I get it.
Well, I was TC Evolutions, so I wasn't even fucking with those. But other people wanted it, so I'm like, all right, let me go get you this. And then they're like, you can only get one. I'm like, all right, got one. Got back in line. Got back in. They're like, you already got yours. I'm like, oh, this is how we're doing it? All right, I guess. So I had to have other people get it, and like, it's just gonna be crazy.
Let's see how many people are gonna be camping out 2 days before or something.
Yeah, that's gonna be like that. Oh my god. It's such a like. We had it so good. We had it so good, boys. We had it so good, and we didn't take that advantage. Now, Worlds is gonna be crazy. You're gonna have to have like dice rolls to see who sits in line for your group. Hey, dude, I know we got this hotel, but I need you to go sit outside all night so we all can get these cards. I want that freaking hat, dude. So we're rolling, and you're sitting outside tonight, boys. Like it brings a new aspect. I think it's fun. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was a great discussion. I think it was fun. I think a lot of people watching this that are collectors, like, it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be fun, guys. And go ahead.
Look at your card. Start reading the text.
Yes,
trying
please.
to figure it out.
Yeah, go down below. Follow that. Start playing. I preach this more than anything. Like, there's a lot of top players that are not playing. So by learning the game right now, all you're doing is closing the gap. All you're doing is closing the gap. Like, that gap is getting closed. We see it in online tournaments now. There's people like Cash, who wasn't at, like, no one would ever consider him before pandemic, like, top player. Now, he's dominating these events, and he's doing very well. And it's like I said, dude, all you're doing is closing the gap. Like, there's people like Jimmy Pendarvis and a lot of people that just aren't even playing. You got players like Danny, who's just playing like meme decks because he's bored. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, and I don't play many of them. I don't want to play. The game's not fun. I don't really like the online thing. I don't like that either. But if you really want to get good at this game, it's the best time to get good because the good players aren't playing. Well, some of the good players aren't playing. So like you're just closing the gap. Just get in there, start playing, learn the game. And by the time we do have events, you never know. You never know. It might be a 10,000 person event with Logan Paul and friggin' George W. Bush. Who knows? Anyone could be there. And then you go in and you win, and like, there you are. Who knows? You could be the most famous Pokemon player ever. Like, you could just do that. We like it could be fun, guys. Just get in there and play. Just get in there and play.
For sure, yeah.
I really appreciate you coming on. I had a lot of fun.
Same here.
Yeah, these discussions are always fun to talk about. Like we go in and into something like this. It's like, oh, how are we gonna do this? Like, don't worry, man. Don't worry. We will talk for days about Pokemon cards. That's just how it works. It's how it is. Yeah, but
hopefully it was like a fresh topic for everyone.
Yeah, I think like you don't sit there and think about it too much, you know. Like as much as I do this podcast and we talk Pokemon every week, but to sit down and actually have a conversation about something like this is refreshing, definitely, because like you do start doubting things. You do start thinking like, yeah, maybe the card game is dying, but then I don't know, when you actually sit down and talk about it, it's like obviously not. How stupid are you thinking? And like yeah, like the competitive seems gonna be peaking. Like it's gonna peak, boys. So jump on now before everyone does start playing again. All right.
Yeah. So by the time the good players get the attention, you can be part of the good players.
Yeah, you can start. You can just rip all the attention from them. Yeah. It's like, oh, good way to go, Rahul. You went and got buff and stopped playing Pokemon, and now fucking Johnny No Name is now coaching Logan Paul. Way to go, Rahul. Good job, dude. But come on the podcast. Come on the podcast. Bring all your friends. This is why we're here, all right?
Yeah.
That's what's up. You got any shout outs or anything you want to do before we wrap it all up?
Shout out to everyone, whoever is watching this podcast. I appreciate it. Shout out to whoever listened and all the way here.
Yeah, you hear it now? That's what's up.
And shout out to, I guess, all my friends and teammates from Japan, US, Europe, whatever you want to call it.
Yep, dope.
Awesome friends.
We'll be back Friday with Pokemon Breakdown. You guys really enjoyed the last one. I thought it was fun. We all went in. I think we always go in, so definitely tune in for that. We're gonna have a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a lot of things are happening in February.
So like McDonald's promo.
Yeah, there's just a lot that's gonna be fun to talk about. There's gonna be a lot of stories coming out. Logan Paul's opening cards. And then next March is like the whole battle styles thing. Like these next few months are just gonna be really fun to talk Pokemon. So definitely subscribe. You don't want to miss these episodes. Like they're just fun, guys. Like and it's the best news. I'm telling you. We're more relatable than anyone else. Like if you listen to this, you know. Everyone knows. There's no robots here. We're out here just talking, having fun. All right, guys. So make sure you like, subscribe. We'll be back Friday with that. But for now, guys, we're going to scoop it up.